Okay, I'm going to call up Judy Chow. Shay, sorry. Cecilia Blackman. Denise Jordan. My daughter is a Code Y student. She's 9.5 years old. Her bus route was just fine until the end of June. 2 weeks before the end of school, they changed her route so that it was taking her 2.5 hours to get home. I called and I called, and finally, for the last day of school, they fixed the bus route. Then, she's on a 12-month program, so at the start of the summer program, all of a sudden the bus route changed again, and she was taking another 2.5 hours. My daughter is potty trained, but all throughout the summer I was calling every day to say what happened to the bus route. It changed for one day, I got it corrected, and I called every day for the entire summer, and it never got fixed during the summer. And then she got used to being on the bus. And then the new school year started, and I spoke to somebody, and once again, for about 3 weeks, it took me a while for me to get the bus route changed. I finally got it changed. It changed back again after another 2 weeks, and I finally got it changed again, and they just changed it again yesterday. Wow. So, my daughter is potty trained, and now she isn't, because she's sitting on the bus for 2+ hours, and I can't sit on the bus for 2 hours. So if you're going to sit on the bus for 2 hours, I'd say provide a toilet, get some tutoring on the bus so these kids can use their time constructively.
Ooh, that's good.
You know, or you know, stick to the IP. I have an IP that says she's a Code Y. So that's the first point. The second point is that I want to support the bus drivers, because I had a bus driver who was skirting the rules, doing it right, but then he was told to change it, and he knows what's better than the people on the desk.
There you go.
All right.
2. Co-op City School, a bus can have 2 to 4 of their schools on one bus. It makes no sense for me to run for a child who lives in Yankee Stadium to have to go all the way up to Arlington Avenue on the other side of Rontover Parkway and go all the way back down to Co-op City, where I live at, I'm literally only 20 minutes away from the school by transportation. Why are there so many schools on one bus? 13 kids on a bus.
Right.
And the amount of time that is required. The first child is picking at 6:45 and it's not dropped off to 8:20. They are going through one every day. This makes no sense. And we need more buses. If you're saying having enough buses at the beginning until kids are added, you're not having enough buses if you have the entire block on one bus. That needs to be separated.
Good afternoon. Matt, I'm glad that you said you extend your email address, because I've been told by your office sometimes to don't email you. So I'm glad you extended that. I'm from PS 811Q. I'm a parent coordinator / transportation coordinator and a few other things. Okay. I have 4 schools that still have busing problems since September to November, and as of this week, the same problems that occurred from September, I'm still facing them now. I have a student from September who was doing fine on his dead-end street, but a week ago, they changed it and said the bus driver can no longer back down the street. It was fine 2 years ago. The inspectors came to the home and said it was fine that the driver can back down the street. The student was out of school for the whole summer this year, and now from September to November, as of last week, he can no longer come to school. I have another bus route that has a student that comes from Manhattan, that has a student in a non-public school, but interferes with our busing. We have buses that have 3 routes on it. I have buses that come in at 9 o'clock, 9:30, and it's deplorable. Our inclusion students are being late, so of course they're going to miss their education. As parents have said, their children are very important. I have a passion for what I do. I don't have a special ed, and I applaud the parents here tonight and those who cannot make it here tonight, but this is unacceptable. I've been doing busing for 7 years since I've been a parent coordinator, and this has been the worst year. Every year I say, I think it was the worst, but this year has been the worst. And I feel for the parents. I have parents who've lost their jobs. I have students who come home soiled because the busing is atrocious. It's unacceptable. It really is. And as the woman said, the corporate world does better. We all have to answer to someone. You should be able to we should be able to answer someone. We call a bus. There's no accountability in OPT. If I call for a question about a student whose bus got changed in the mid-afternoon, I get an answer, no, it can't be done. The bus company can't wait, or the bus company can't change it. Who are we to answer? The school has no one to answer to. There's no one, a go-to person at OPT at 3 o'clock, 3:30. My school, we stayed in the school till 6:30 at night one time, waiting for a bus. My students got home at 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I feel for that parent, I really do. And as I said, I don't have a special needs child, but I can stand here and attest for all the parents that are here tonight and the ones who didn't make it here tonight. It is unacceptable what the parents have to go through. It really is unacceptable. And you stand here and you say, we're doing these changes, but there's no change. Since day one, you said GPSs were going to be on the bus, nothing. So I don't accept what you're saying. And I know you have to stand here for everything else that's going on. But something has to change. It is unacceptable that the parents and the students have to take the abruptness and the rudeness and the lateness. It's unacceptable. And we want change now. I can't even do my work as a parent coordinator. I'm stuck doing busing. I don't mind because I want my parents and my students to be comfortable in what they do. But it's not happening.
One is, I actually had an IP meeting today, and the doctor's note says that my daughter should not be on a bus for more than 40 or 45 minutes. And they told me, okay, don't worry, we'll code her. But I told them, well, coding means 90 minutes out of work. Yeah. And they told me, no, like it's either she's coded or not. She either has short bus travel or not, and short is 90 minutes. But that's double the time that the doctor recommended. So they told me like that on the IT, there's no place to write like number of minutes. It's either she has a code or not.
Yes, there is.
That's what they told me the IT meeting today. Second thing, how come 5- and 6-year-olds are allowed to ride in the same bus with 15- and 16-year-olds?
Ooh, good question.
Emotional and behavioral problems. With only like a driver that has to keep both her hands on the wheel, and one matron that sits in the front.
I am a program director for the Staten Island Special Education Parent Center. You are the executive director of. Okay, where is your office? Okay, so do you work for DOE or do you work for OPT?
DOE is the division, or OPT is the division of part of DOE.
Okay, so who do you report to?
I report to a guy named Eric Goldstein,
Who reports to?
Deputy Chancellor Britt.
Okay. And we don't know who she reports to just yet.
Well, she reports to Chancellor Klein on that.
Anyway, most of the questions and the complaints that I get from parents are that there are kids who are all IP students. School ends at 2 o'clock, they get home at 1:30. School ends at 2:30, they get home at 2 o'clock. When we first went into getting paperwork for medical reasoning or medical documentation, for whether it's limited time, a small school bus, air conditioning, there was a whole lot of information that came with that on how it goes about. So we have DOE folks here from Laura Rodriguez's office, and every time I come to a meeting like this, I say the same thing. Can you guys call your schools, tell your CSEs, tell the school psychologists that in order to put the right documentation on an IEP for a child with special needs, you need medical documentation. This is why. Because you're not going to get the minibus without it. You're not going to get the limited time without it. Instead of a parent going to an annual review or a new IEP meeting and they say absolutely nothing, or we can't do that. How long are we going to allow your employees to say that's not allowed? Every parent in this room has a child with special needs. Do you know what that's about? Do you know what it's like to raise a child with learning disabilities that has to get a number 2 on that test, that has to score a level 3 in order to be promoted? And the only thing that these parents want are their kids to get to school on time and safe.
That's right.
That is number 1. We can't, that's the way we start our day. We can't go without it. I know you've gotten a lot of less complaints. My office has not. You have moving demands and you have less employees, but 37 and a half minutes was negotiated with UFT to make sure that these kids can be successful. You said one thing that I want to emphasize: if OPT is not working with the parents to call the school, schools are telling parents call OPT.
That's right.
Assistant principals have to work with parents to get these problems out. Thank you.
That has been resolved. However, my issues that have not been resolved, one that I just made this week Tuesday, my son is on a bus. He's blind, totally blind. He goes to a special school for visually impaired and blind children. He is on a bus with children who on their IEP have emotionally and behavioral problems. This is unacceptable to me. I've been in contact with the principal from the program who said this is an ongoing issue year after year. Complaints go in, nothing is being done. This is a safety issue, not only for my child, but for the other children on the bus. I'm aware of the situation. My son is able to verbalize to me what is happening to him on the bus. He is often scared to get on the bus. So I have to wait for his father, who works overnight shift, to get home, to then take him to school.
No, that
More information. Tonight's information was, I believe I heard the register of children changes, maybe we added an additional 10,000 kids from September to October. Is that what I heard?
yes.
That's pretty amazing. I think I heard again that 90 minutes is
And John, I guess I should be, really we probably add them from August 20th until October.
And I think I heard 90 minutes is an acceptable timeline to go from Rosebank in Staten Island to, let's say, Great Kills, right?
So the within borough, as it says on the website, the maximum amount of time that a child should travel within borough is 90 minutes.
Okay. And then I'm hearing, I heard, that, well, that's how DOE, that's what DOE does. And I know
Wait,
that...
about what?
Well, your boss is Eric Goldstein, and
right.
Above Eric is Deputy Chancellor Grant.
Right.
That would be the Department of Education, right?
Right. But I think what I specifically said is that the DOE does not route children according to disability or age. That is the DOE's policy.
That's wrong.
Okay,
so,
whether it's wrong or not, that is the DOE's policy.
okay,
So
so
it's still wrong.
where I'm going with this is when there's meetings like this evening, how many times does the management of Office of Pupil Transportation, leadership of OPT, meet with the Department of Education and go over issues like this?
Well, we are part of the Department of Education.
Oh, well, talk to me how that, you know, how do you communicate? How does every parent, their concerns tonight, how does that get communicated back to Kathleen Graham?
So I will, after this meeting, I will sit down with my boss, Eric Goldstein.
Pretend this meeting never happened. How do you communicate to Deputy Chancellor Kathleen Graham?
Through my boss, Eric Goldstein.
Okay, so is there monthly meetings? I mean, do we go through each borough? How do we do this? Or do we just flip a coin and figure out, maybe we're going to touch Manhattan in September and we'll talk a little bit about Staten Island in December? How does that work? Because we're not transportation people. We're parents.
You mean talk about the bus routes?
The
issues that are being addressed, that were addressed in September. Remember we were at this District 75 meeting in September?
Right.
I sent you a list of questions, right? I said I needed this information. You said I'm going to forward it up the chain.
Right.
Never got the information.
Right.
Okay? JD, she's been foiled. She's gotten 4 different responses.
So Eric, okay, I know you sent those requests. Eric actually gave those to Paul, so Paul has that information for you today. So he'll give that to you. The foils are not, I mean, I don't want to sound like you're kind of am. The foils don't, you know, they go to the foil office. It's not, I'm sorry.
Where's the intersection between OPT and the rest of the education department within DOE? Where is the communication amongst all of you individually and then collectively, and first and foremost?
What's the name of your organization?
We are pissed.